And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mount Paozu Arcade. We are back after a week of an onslaught of content, man. Chris, were we ready for that last week, man?
I mean, you're looking at my hair right now, right? Does it look like I was ready for the content last? Like, I'm still recovering, man. I've been trying to go to work for the last 3 days straight, and it's been awful. You might have seen me on Twitter just nonstop motor mouthing off about Dragon Ball FighterZ and stuff we found out, and like, I didn't even get like 20% in. Like, I'm thinking about rationing this stuff out so I don't go nuts.
Dude, like last week was it just burned my brain and melted it into a little puddle of like overthinking absolutely everything.
No,
you know,
right?
And then the crazy thing would be is that a lot of people would come up with their own interpretations of what they saw, and not even necessarily it being right or wrong, but the fact that their mind thought about it that way made me think about it a completely different way, and my ideas just kept branching off left and right.
And that's really cool. I want to say that's really cool that people looked at what we saw and then they were asking us questions like, "Hey, did you try this out?" And honestly, I'm embarrassed to say it. There's a lot of stuff we just didn't think to try out because, like we said last week, we just got kind of caught in that arcade mentality where we just kind of wanted to learn how to play the game at a basic level, So, if we ever
you know what? And you know what? With that, I actually think the way we approached it has helped us out a lot more in the long run than we thought it would. Because a lot of the things that we were trying out were more like gameplay type stuff, like playing actual matches, and trying to get comfortable with the game, as opposed to we didn't really break down a lot of situations necessarily, right? But for instance, the first thing I want to bring up is the whole the hypeness of the king himself, or the most demonic Piccolo.
Demon King.
Exactly. Piccolo, right? That dude is looking so monstrous right now, especially in the Twitter sphere. Holy shit, it's got a lot of people worried. But goddamn, does he have potential, regardless if some of that stuff works or not.
Well, we knew, like, even going in, like, we spent like maybe an hour with him, and there was moments where we thought he was OP, and then we were like, okay, it's not that bad, and then it kind of smoothed itself out to this character is oppressive as hell. And even with that, it took like CD Jr. seeing that video of you using homing sphere on me on Oki, and we knew that it was strong, and he was just like, yo, that's cheap. And I was like, you're right, that is cheap, because I can't do anything about it.
And it's like the most basic version of that. Like, consider if you used other assists that maybe can open up other opportunities for you on top of using the sphere, and go from there, man. And also possibly even using Dragon Rush in the mix-up. Like, there's just so many things you can do that when you consider just that option and what that opens up, it gets pretty scary. And that's a lot of stuff, or a lot of conversation that we've been seeing in Twitter, and on YouTube as well, when people are breaking down our videos, which is a pretty damn cool thing, man. And it's helped us, like people that's actually touched the game, come up with even better strategies, I feel. And I can't wait for us to get that on beta, or just get our hands on the game again, period, and be able to break that down.
I'm right there with you. Like, I can't wait to just be in the presence of the game again. I have a list of things that I want to try out now, because we just don't know. And I feel bad every time I have to tell somebody like, oh, hey, I didn't really test that out. Hopefully somebody got it at Gamescom, but there's a lot of stuff that didn't get tested at Gamescom also. And there's a lot of stuff from the other people who were testing at that facility at Bandai Namco that they also didn't test. And now we know what to look for, basically. And so,
you also got to consider that, I don't know, for me, when I started playing, I had no experience with almost anybody in the cast. Like, I played like 3 matches at Evo, and I try to have an opinion on the game, but after playing it for like a few hours, things have certainly changed, and a different build at that. I see the game in a completely different way now, and it's hard. I could see how it's really hard for a lot of people trying to break down a whole game all at once, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do that, so I just stuck to like Piccolo and somewhat Trunks, you know?
Yeah, and like we're no stranger to playing three characters on a team. Obviously, we've been doing
Right.
that for the last 5 years, basically. But this is the first time we've had to play them in a synchronous position, as it were. But even that doesn't really change the fact that we did focus on certain characters. Like obviously, you focus on Piccolo, and I
Yeah.
focused on Vegeta. And your Piccolo was crisp. My Vegeta was pretty crisp, and the other two characters we used were just kind of like utilities, more or less.
Well, your Trunks was getting up there. I feel like that was definitely building on Trunks.
Once I had gotten comfortable with Vegeta, because I was like, all right, I'm not going to make it beyond Magic Series in the Final Flash. I was like, let me see where I can get with Trunks. And that's when we really started finding out some crazy things in this game. But probably one of the crazier things that I realized about this game now coming home is something that's more universal. And we'll get more into character specific stuff later on. But right now I want to just like get something out of the way, because a lot of people have been looking at some of these new combo videos that we've been seeing, like Android 16, the Piccolo combo videos from Max, and those they do a lot of damage, but they also take a lot of resources.
Right.
Now, coming from a KOF background, we see that, and we're just like, oh shit, that's not optimal, baby. Like, you're over here blowing your load on this guy. What are you gonna do with like only one bar left? And I realized, and it had been in our face the entire time, but there was never a moment in our matches where neither one of us didn't have at least 2 or 3 bars.
That is true. But I feel like this game really pays off when you don't have that many hits in a combo, right? So I feel like this will be that type of game where you earn a touch and you try to convert as fast as possible off of an assist or something like that,
Yeah, totally.
Like constantly trying to create opportunity. And that's really common, especially in a tag game where it's like just constant onslaught of offense and using your resources to have some type of defensive game on top of your fundamentals, right?
And most of those are going to take like 1 or 2 bars. You're going to need a bar for teleport and maybe a bar for the defensive tag when you're stuck blocking in the corner. But I also wanted to tell people, maybe don't be so afraid of the meter usage in this game. You get 7 bars and they build really quickly, even without that horrible charge system. You can build a bar and a half off of Magic Series just doing the standard combo. So you basically already recovered your escape route, more or less, or covered your super ender. If you have 3 or 4 bars, you can go on to 5. You can rip a level 3. You can maybe throw a teleport attack in there for extra damage, maybe cut them with an EX. And you can get that 50% damage for 6 or 5 bars, and that's your payload, basically, right? And,
man.
And a lot of other games, like I said, like in a lot of the games like KOF, you're like, man, you're never going to see that again. That's going to take forever to get back. But you will get that back in no time in this game.
I'm also, man, okay. So I don't know if you guys watched the ESL tournament. God damn, am I thirsty to jump on that commentary. I'm just gonna say that, man, because like in whatever aspect it is, even if it's commentary or being what Homegirl was doing at that event.
Oh, dude, yeah, that was sick.
Cause, dude, like it was really cool and also really sad how some of the players were like straight up like giving up booty in those interviews, like, hey, bro, like, hey, so how do you do? Listen, I'm gonna lose to this guy. No, man.
All I'm gonna say is, God bless Mephistopheles, man. Holy shit, what a perfect champion, don't you think?
I mean, yeah, but like some of those dudes on there were like, listen, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm probably gonna get worked and blah blah blah. And I was like, fuck, bro. I was like, man, this is your opportunity. You know you're gonna lose. Fuck, just goon it out, man. That's what we do.
Dude,
you know you're gonna
lose. Just make them feel bad for playing you. And just be like, hey, man, like I may lose horribly, but you had to play me for 3 minutes. And that's 3 minutes of hell. That's 3 minutes you'll never get back.
I forget what that girl's name was, but props to her for trying to keep people engaged, because she was like,
she wasn't even about it, and she was like, okay, can you like give me something else, man? Like I don't know what the fuck's going on here, but you're giving me garbage.
Yeah, she's like, damn, I'm like more excited than you are, and I'm not even playing the game.
Have some emotion.
Yeah, and yeah, dude, I don't know. I'm hype about this game in so many aspects, but seeing that as like to me one of the more first esporty type events that we've seen for Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Fighters. Shit, that got me hype about the future, dude. Like,
Yeah.
man, if I'm not doing commentary, let me do those interviews, man. I feel like I could bring the beast out in these people.
Do you
Like,
think?
okay, you think you're gonna suck? Hey, Mephistopheles, lay into this dude. Fuck him up. Let him feel the full wrath.
Dude, Mephistopheles was like the perfect person to have on the other end of those interviews because every time somebody gave up cheeks, he would just give you that stone faced look and be like, "Yep, but take his quarter." You know, he just said it right. Why even just say it? This guy's a bitch. You know, I was like, "Damn, yes." And then he
I,
did
I,
it.
would- I would have been like, man, you realize you're losing to a bald dude right now, right? I mean, you're losing to a real life Krillin, like right now. And the funny thing is that you know you're gonna lose. Like, man, I don't know, but I could just see us having so much fun with that, man. Like, whoo, yeah, I'm really excited about the future. I want to get my hands on it, on the game, and in this type of arena, like, man, like that's why I can't wait for us to do the boot camps. I can't wait for us to just shoot the shit about a match, you know?
In this game, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I totally feel like we shoot the shit about what we did a couple weeks ago, obviously, but it's totally different than what we're gonna do when we're actually playing this game full time. You know, it's gonna be there's gonna be moments where we're just like, oh shit, like I'm actually talking about this game that's Dragon Ball more or less, and you know we never thought we'd be doing that, but the game is real and the game is tight, and there's a lot of just there's just so many layers to it, and I'm not ashamed to admit this. I'm on Kappa, and I'm every time, and again, Kappa is super into Dragon Ball Fighters right now, and it's got nothing to do with them hating Marvel. It's got nothing to do with hating Street Fighter 4. They are just legit into Dragon Ball Fighters, and I'm just like, it's a perfect place for me to just get out a ton of like ideas and thoughts I've had in my head about the game, and when I write these essays for them, I'm just like, wow, there's just so much more to this game that doesn't even really come out until I start thinking about it and talking about it with people. Stuff that doesn't end up on those commercials, stuff that doesn't end up in the character breakdowns. Sorry about that, but no, actually, I'm not sorry. And that's just something that, when you think about it, I just didn't expect it, you know? And it's making me really happy, and it's making me really impatient, and that's part of the reason why I just can't wait to touch the game again, because I'm excited to see what else I'm gonna find out.
I'm gonna tell you right now, man. If I'm commentating the match and somebody does an interview like that, don't worry, I got your back. I'm gonna speak up for you. It's okay. I will make up the lore for you. All right, I got your back. I will shit talk for you. No problem. I got you. We'll learn. We'll all learn together how to do this. It's all good, baby. That's why we're here. That's why the goons are here for you, man.
Yeah, the goons are here just for the fans, for the people, for the competitors. You know, we're not here for ourselves. That's not at all. I mean, it's not entirely. We're kind of here for ourselves because we enjoy the games too. But for the most part, this is like, a family business, So I do want to talk about one thing though, and it's kind of Mephistopheles related, because I basically made a comment after he won that there was a video of him winning one of the rounds, and he used it. He won by using Piccolo's counter teleport smash, right?
Which one? Be specific. Which one?
The one that crosses up.
The one that goes behind, or the one that comes straight down?
The one that tracks you when you're like, no matter where you are, it'll just come straight down behind you.
So you're talking about the one that comes straight down from the sky?
From the sky, yeah.
Okay, because there's one that crosses up, and that one goes through the opponent, and then there's one that comes straight up from the sky.
Straight down vertical, yeah.
Okay, okay, just to be clear.
He was abusing the hell out of that, basically.
Yeah.
And after he won a match, he had this like shit-eating smirk on his face, right? Where he's just like, I got away with it, right? And I'm like, me and you knew, we've been saying that this was going to be the scrub hammer, week 1, week 0, probably month 1. Nobody's going to know what to do about that.
Hour 2.
Hour two, hour two, people are quitting the game because of that. You're gonna see Twitter and Facebook light up about scrub ass Piccolos that just mash quarter circle back medium. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it carried. It carried over into other avenues where Tasty Steve and Coogie actually just got their hands on the game and games at like the GameStop convention in Vegas. And they were coming out with some ideas and whatnot, conceptual tech for Piccolo and other characters, and incorporated that move a lot. You know, they were using the homing sphere and using that move to get them some positioning around the map, possibly scaring the opponent. But the thing is about that, and you can attest to this. By now, people should be aware that that move is a command counter, but it is also not a command counter because if you let it sit, it will do the teleport automatically anyway.
It's a command counter that goes through with an attack regardless if it earns the actual counter.
That's a better way to say it.
So it'll complete the animation through regardless if you actually there's no activation. It happens regardless, but it will activate off of you hitting him. So it works no matter what. But in saying that, Gibby, you think you could put up do we have a clip of that somewhere just so people can see that as a reference?
Yeah.
The Piccolo.
There is a downside to the other half of that counter.
It's all good, man. If Gibby doesn't have it ready, but
we can explain it basically, and we'll try to take our time on. But basically, there's a downside to it, and once he goes into that cross arm stance that he does, right? He can't get out of it. We haven't figured out a way to cancel it. We haven't figured out a way to prolong it. It basically is on a set timer before he teleports down and crushes you from above. Now, at first, that doesn't seem so bad, but the thing is, every character in this game has a down H, a down heavy, which, as we know, has full upper body invincibility. I think even like from frame one, it's
I don't know, but it's really, really good as far as like an anti-air, like super duper good.
Yeah, it's like a really good anti-air, and it works on this move pretty handily actually. Actually, it's almost like it's made to counter that kind of move. So there's video that we're gonna put up hopefully soon that showcases myself playing Abe, and he gets me in that pressure situation, and it's not a bad situation for him to utilize it because I do look kind of confused, but at the same time. Oh God. Okay, so you can see he's putting me in that pressure, and I'm a little delayed, but whatever. You see that in the moment where he thinks he's okay to just do it, he thinks I'm going to press a button. He's actually at the disadvantage because I wait him out, and I just wait for him to disappear and hit 2H, and it's a perfect timing. Just kill them, nail them, counter hit,
dude. And here, let me remind you guys, just think about it. The dopest anti-air in an anime game that you've ever had, everybody has one. Like that down, that 2H is crazy. And on top of that, Trunks is monster, dude. Monster. So, basically a lot of these situations that look like they're, wow, what a struggle. Well, how do you defend against that? Look, to be honest with you, a lot of these things, people haven't developed an awareness for it yet. And yeah, sure, people get hit by it, but once they see it, they'll pretty much be able to discern what's going to come next, right? Or what options you have. And I just don't expect a lot of people to be able to deal with that, at least within like the first few hours, And that's pretty much what a lot of this footage that you've seen has been. It's like these guys have had less probably than an hour of playing this game.
Yes.
And luckily for me and Chris, we had like a legit session where we actually like try to have some real matches, and not really just against us, but playing against other people that are semi-competent at this point because they've had time with it too. Yes. And we can kind of discern like, okay, that strat's boo-boo. That strat doesn't work. It doesn't have longevity. Or while this strat seems to work, there's not a lot of downsides. It worked like how we thought about it conceptually. Right. And right now what we're seeing is that when you're playing a game this early and you don't have a training mode and you have to ask the other opponent to block for you, that it just eats up so much time that you can only work through so many different scenarios unless you're already aware of them. which you could get to them faster, right? Like I would imagine that anybody else at Gamescom or even Tasty Steve and Coogie, that like it was a real time consuming task to look through all these scenarios that they're trying to think of.
Dude, it's impossible to do in one day because in that situation, we only found out about that at the last minute.
Yeah, man. And you don't even get a chance to try to prove these strats against different types of people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, if me and you are just grinding, like, you play in such a specific way that is like, I'm not gonna call you a scrub anymore, man. I don't think you're a scrub. But you do play a lot more instinctual. You're more on the instinctual side as opposed to like methodical type of play. So I like playing you is a very specific type of gameplay style, right? And I'm only gonna learn a certain aspect of the game playing against you. But versus other people, I can see how other things wouldn't work. Like, well, Chris doesn't counter this very well, but these guys sure do. So it's not gonna work against guys like that or people that have X character. And that's just something that we haven't been able to really full on crack open because we haven't had a few days at it or even been able to apply these new concepts that we've been coming up with in our head to see if they're real. But yeah, that's where I feel we're at right now.
And we're kind of playing catch up with ourselves too, because we're looking at footage that we took 2 weeks ago, and it's been great to analyze and find out things that we didn't notice when we were there. And there's been a lot of that going on. But yeah, like nothing really outdoes having a ton of time with the game and just grinding it out. And I think that's just our mentality, like we are the kind of guys that just go into a game and we just run our heads up against the wall until information shakes out. The thing about that though is like I think you get something even just as valuable from that, and that's almost entirely, well, that's basically just how the game flows. That's what's just about as important as getting those character specific, matchup specific, situation specific text. Just being able to get into the game and just be comfortable with it, And how does this game feel once you're comfortable? And that's the thing that I was trying to accomplish. And I mean, I'm not saying that's for everybody. Sometimes people just want to go to a game and they want to know what's the strongest character and how do they, utilize their strength correctly. But
I'll tell you what about that stuff too. Like, I've never been a guy that really believes anybody in, especially initially in a game. I'm so skeptical, even of some of the things that I might suspect about it, right? I'm like, well, I feel like I need secondary confirmation on this because it's just so much information to break down.
Yes.
And I feel like I might have made some shit up, or not even made some shit up, but I might have saw something that didn't actually happen. And except for a few things that I know I definitely nailed down. And if I know a lot of people don't do that, I feel like a lot of people will make off the cuff reactions and judgment on like, yeah, this character's broken, or yeah, this character's for sure top tier. And that's why we will be having guests back and future guests that we can really bounce off ideas. Like, for instance, we had Kizzy K on a while back. We're definitely bringing him back on for sure.
I'd love to see what he thinks right now.
Rhyme Style's coming back on for a fact.
For sure.
And I've been saying this for a while, man. I really want to bring Nerd Josh, but right now, we have not been able to lock down things just because we've been so fucking, I don't know, like bamboozled. Like, yeah, it's been a lot of things going on lately, and it's just been really hard to nail people down. And it's been a really busy week in the FGC in general.
No, for real. And I think, we're going to be able to get a lot more guests once people are able to get into the betas and whatnot. And once that happens, people are going to want to everybody's going to want to talk,
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I want more people to get their hands on the game. I don't care. The funny thing is about a new game when it comes out, right? Everybody wants to be number one, like before it even comes out, which to me is like the dumbest thing to put your hat on.
Yeah, like I definitely
not
want
worth
to
it.
be everything to everyone in this game. Like neither one of us want to be that, like because first of all, that's how we stop learning. Once you start considering yourself like the number one source of anything, you're probably most likely going to stop listening to people.
Well, I'm trying to avoid to not not get an ego over it. Which
shit.
what I mean by that is not get high off my own supply and thinking the shit that I'm saying is nothing but gold. You know.
Dude, I can't wait for that shit to
happen. Well, shit. When I talk to you about it, I definitely feel like all my shit's gold. um, but yeah, you know, I'm trying to be careful as to what I'm saying and making sure that you know, we took in a lot of considerations into the strats and ideas that we put out there.
Right. I don't, like you said, we don't want to put anything out there that we didn't think through thoroughly, and we're very careful not to just say everything matter of factly unless we had personal experience with it.
Yeah.
And that kind of came up today. One of the people that I want to bring on to this show is Maximilian. Maximilian was at the recording session, and he had a lot of time basically just testing characters out. And you know, we made a lot of good footage off of it. You guys are probably seeing his Trunks breakdown. And it's really good. Does all the moves and whatnot. And there's one thing that apparently has been on, and I didn't even notice till today, by the way. There's apparently been some contention over the status of Trunks' level 3. His level 3 super. Is it a hit or is it a grab? Now, when we were recording this, and every time we hit it, or I hit it, I guess, it seemed like a grab, you know, because the way it worked, the way it animated, the way it activated, just was, you know, grab-like. There was no in-between animation between startup and the animation of the actual super. It was just pretty much like, did it hit? Okay, we're going into cinematic mode, you know? Definitely hit you once when you were on defense, and I knew you were blocking. And unless you hit a button or something, and I didn't see it start up, which is crazy, then it would be a grab. And I honestly, and we've been talking about this, I honestly don't see this being a hit, and it's that fast, you know?
Well, okay. So first of all, if it is a grab, and my honest opinion, I believe it is. That range is some real command grab shit right there.
Yeah,
like,
that's real dirty shit.
Oh, is that bad? Now, if we were to consider it a hit, holy shit, is that one of the fastest hit animations ever?
Like, you don't even see it come out.
Like, active. Like, it's like, I promise you that there was at least, if not, considering if it's a hit, when I saw the flash, I was holding up. It may not got recorded. I don't know. But there's a few times I played against Hell Pockets where I saw the flash and I held up and he still got me, like, regardless. Now that does open it up the possibility of it being a hit, sure. But like literally 0 frame active, like some Alpha 2 shit, custom combo shit. Like, fuck.
That shit is like, you know, it's literally it's got to be the fastest level 3 in the game, man. Like,
if it's a hit, that shit is crazy. But
you see in the video, you're backdashing, right? And you were at almost the full extension of backdash. So even if backdash isn't invulnerable, you should have at least been able to block it.
Which is a whole nother discussion about how backdashes work in this game, right?
Right.
Because I don't know. I guess I'm not considered airborne, right? I mean, I am sliding on the ground, but it doesn't seem to be any type of like invulnerable effect with that backdash. And that's not the first time I got caught with that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to put my hat or my ticket in the hat with it is a grab.
I feel like it's a grab too.
Yeah.
It is definitely not and this is something that Max explained on his video. It is definitely not something that you need to be super close for, because as you can see, he's almost a full character space away from me, and it's grabbing or hitting, whatever you believe.
Dude, when I got grabbed by it, I was shocked. Like, oh shit, because I'm so used to like these super versatile characters that say if they do have a command grab, you have to be kind of close.
Right.
You know? Like, this is some real, like, if this was a command grab character, he has that range. You know?
I almost feel like that's almost I mean, it's almost unfair, you know, like where you can't even backdash away from it. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
if I
limited
caught
options.
if I caught you landing from the backdash, then okay. But then even then, it's like that's crazy ass distance.
Yeah, that I'll tell you what, man. That move is gonna be heavily tested the next time we get a chance.
Oh yeah. Now here's the thing
Uh,
that I wouldn't be surprised by. Now,
uh,
if for whatever reason, if it is a hit,
yeah.
and it's very possible that it could be. Uh, I wouldn't be surprised if sometime before this game's released that it becomes a grab because it's it just doesn't really make much sense to make that a hit.
Yeah, I
You
just
know.
well, fuck all this speculation. I don't think it's a fucking hit. It's a grab.
All right,
I,
so Mount Paozu Arcade officially on record as saying that Trunks Level 3 is a grab. We're gonna need to put some footage together showing that it can be blocked.
I don't even care if I'm proved wrong. Like if somebody comes at me like, see, Meta Abe, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'll be like, well, you must have gone. I mean, because it doesn't seem like it's that easy to prove right now, right? There's a lot of footage out there, and I feel like most of the footage leans more towards it being a grab than a hit.
Mhm.
And through experience, it definitely for me leans more towards a grab. But shit, if you could prove me wrong, that's cool. Like
Yeah, that's
then
something.
that move is just stupid crazy.
Yeah, like that is something that I welcome. If you can prove me wrong on that, then good because I don't want to be purporting stuff that ain't true. Like please let us know. That's what we're here for, and we will we'll cite our evidence. We'll cite you in the glossary of Game Goons, the Goon glossary. Um, but for as of right now, like that just looks like a really it's a fast grab too, but it's even faster as a hit because you can kind of see where he makes an extension after that, after
Mm.
the flash, but at the same time, it's just like, man, like, what is it supposed to do? Like,
All right,
what are they trying to do to us?
all right. So we've had a bit of talk for a while of like more technical stuff, right?
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you want to address on Dragon Ball Fighters and on a more technical aspect?
All right, so we talked about meter usage. We talked about uh technique with Piccolo and other such characters. By the way,
Mm.
Homing Sphere is legit. Don't worry about it. It's real. Um, I'm not even hating on that move. That shit is ridiculous.
Blow it up with Super Dash. That's all I'm gonna say.
You can
That
blow it
that's
up
the
with.
that look, Super Dash against Homing Sphere is the first level of blowing it up. Obviously, it's a fighting game. People can make reads. People can not only make reads, people can react to your shit,
Yes.
right? And it's up to you to make it as safe as possible when you unleash that Homing Sphere.
Right.
There's going to be a counter to a counter to a counter. But right now, if you see some dude just unloading Homing Sphere, just Super Dash through it.
Yeah.
That's it. If they show you that they can counter it, okay, well, peel back the next layer, man. That's fighting games. It is what it is.
Mm.
But I will say now that it is good, but in the way people are using it, it is not that good. It
No.
could be better if people used it better. Is all I'm saying. And it's very early gameplay. So I'm not even shitting on nobody. I'm just saying that it's really good, but nobody's really been able to take advantage of both assists, making it safer, and figuring out the angles to come at somebody and really shut down the possible counters that somebody has against you. So that's all I'm saying about that. And I want to put this fucking issue to rest because until we have beta access, because nobody's gonna understand what I'm talking about until people actually play the game. I feel like it's one of those things. And
Yeah.
then a few weeks from now, we'll come back, we'll talk about it again and be like, see, I told you.
I will say that it has been great for hype, though. Like, people have been the most hype for the game since possibly the first trailer, second trailer.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of positive energy out there for Dragon Ball Fighters and Piccolo specifically. So,
Mhm.
really cool to see that. Technical stuff,
Oh,
though.
last thing, I guess. We do need to address Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta before we move on to we'll segue off of that into other talks.
Okay, into other topics. So
Yeah.
obviously this is something that, and I cut a video about this. This is something that people have been kind of divided on, obviously. When they first announced that these two characters were going to be in the game, I think it was the first misstep in the promotional history of Dragon Ball Fighters. That's when
Mm,
you really actually started seeing people who were, for the game, for fighting games, for good fighting games,
yeah.
and saying this is BS. We're getting palette swaps. And I mean, surprise, surprise, there was some SNK fans getting upset about that. So, um, and I gotta say they nailed it, man. Like when that trailer for Super Saiyan Blue, Goku and Vegeta came
Yeah.
out, like nobody was like, "Oh shit!" Like here comes like palette swap Goku and Vegeta with like a different super move because they did a really good job of making them look and visually feel like different characters than their Super Saiyan Gold counterparts.
Hmm. So, if this is probably the best version of a supposed palette swap I've ever seen in a fighting game
Yes.
ever. Holy shit! Like they sell the hell out of everything about those characters. Their level threes, just the way that they play their move sets. People pointed out to us the other day, like their direct influences from the show, and I was like, damn, like okay, that's pretty dope. Like I didn't even notice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just the animation, like uh the animation for Vegeta's, to me it's generic. It seems generic. But holy shit, is that the dopest generic level 3 super I've ever seen, with the one punch, one hitter quitter, knock the shit out of this character move. God damn, you feel the torque in those punches. Like,
And you're hoping that it wall bounces.
dude, like holy shit. And that's not something you really see even in Dragon Ball, the series, right? You
Mm-mm.
don't see really moves getting ramped up to where you feel the torque of this move.
Not
You
all the
know,
time, no. They've been
it
doing a better job of it, but like yeah, sometimes you're just like this. Well, when you look at this, you're just like, wow, that's almost like Arxis is putting its stamp on a Vegeta product. You
well,
know?
it also goes into showing like that these guys are fans of other media, right? Like there are other mangas and animes that really take a cue, or that they take a cue from in that and infuse it into the game, right?
Mm.
Like we're all fans of different types of thing, whether it be comic books or animation or movies. And these guys are seeing stuff that's really cool, and they're not saying, "Well, this isn't prevalent in Dragon Ball, but it could be prevalent in our game, and it's gonna look dope as shit. So
Mm-hmm.
fuck it, let's do it."
And then all of a sudden, a character who, or some characters who possibly don't really have a large move list suddenly
Mm,
do. And I gotta say, like Dragon Ball Fighters has had me going to Dragon Ball's wiki and looking at all the notable maneuvers of every Dragon Ball character in history. And I never
oh
realized how
shit.
many there are, man. Like we were talking about Rikum early or last week. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, let's see, what can Rikum get from, as a move for a move list? And that dude literally had like 25 moves listed in the history of the animation and the manga. Just like 25 Rikuma specific maneuvers. And I was like, take your pick, Arxis.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I mean that's like that's Toriyama's playground. He does that shit, you know?
Yeah.
He I feel like he is one of the early adopters of naming the fuck out of every move that you ever do. Like I may be wrong. I'm not saying that he's the first by any means, but like just think about the timeline, right? Like back in those times, they were naming moves and all that, but it became super prevalent like about the late 80s and 90s where everything was getting named. Every move that you do, you're calling it out before you're doing it, you know? And I feel like he took it to the next level, especially with so many characters that he has and all those names that he created for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, that finds origins in the old Chinese kung fu theater, where like
Yeah.
you would
Oh
also,
yeah, that's right.
like a
Good
lot of that
point.
stuff is like they say their style, their school, or then they say the name of their technique as they're doing it or before they do it, and so a lot of manga artists, and most notably Akira Toriyama, transferred that over to the manga, and it was like a perfect marriage, and the way that he did it was
Mm-hmm.
so infectious that
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a lot of it just caught on, man. You know, like I can only think of him and Fist of the North Star.
So, I'm about to gush a little bit about Dragon Ball and give props where credit's due. I like the fact that Dragon Ball, the original, and even more so now with Dragon Ball Super, it's not afraid to be a cartoon.
Mm.
You know, like it's not afraid to play within the medium that it is. And I feel like for a while, a lot of these properties have been trying to be stuff that they're not, you know. And I always appreciated how Toriyama and Dragon Ball have been able to really cross those lines back and forth of, giving you a little bit of serious topics while also still not taking itself so seriously and taking advantage of the type of things that happen in those already extreme universes that they exist in.
Mm. Um, that's echoing a sentiment that I often remind people to do on review videos of Dragon Ball Super episodes. Is
Yeah.
It's a crazy ride. You know, it's not supposed to always make sense. It's not always supposed to be highbrow.
Yeah.
It's just supposed to be entertainment. You got to enjoy it. You know, like if you're going into Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super and you're expecting continuity, and Dragon Ball Super has been doing a fairly good job at continuity. It may not be pleasing everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but they are trying, you know. But at the same time, like you said, they are not afraid to be a cartoon. They're not afraid to turn their brain off for a moment, you know, and just let you indulge in, you know, what would you call it? Martial arts euphoria. I mean, the recent episode with Master Roshi is like a great example and exercise in that, where it's just him being Master Roshi from 1983.
Yeah.
In 2017, and we're just like, whoa, this stuff definitely didn't age well.
Yeah, and you know what? There was a lot of callbacks in that episode that is not just reminiscent of themes that were in Dragon Ball, but also reminiscent of themes in older, like how you said, like kung fu flicks or like karate type flicks, like back in the day, where it's like a lot of these films were made where it's like, oh well, the master gives his last go and he fucking goes out like a G and dies.
Yeah.
Like that's a very common theme in cinema and in martial arts movies. And I feel like they gave him a traditional episode of like, well, he is a callback to the OG status of martial arts films and stuff like that. And we want to give him an episode where we play off of that, also play off of his character that we've developed over the years. And yeah, it was really effective, man. Like he really did that whole last stand thing where it's like, you know what, man, I got to hold it down for my boys. Like it is what it is. Right on without me, you guys could do it. And goes out like a G. I dug that,
No, that was really cool. I'm sure Gibby teared up over that.
Yeah. And speaking of Master Roshi, god damn does he need to be in Dragon Ball FighterZ. Oh my god. Please let this dude flex beyond flex and light some dudes up with the original Kamehameha.
I want like, Mafuba, like the evil way.
Oh, here we go. You've been, yeah,
be
okay.
A command grab. That's definitely got to be a command grab. You can't block it. He just literally puts you in a bottle.
That would be
kicks you off the stage. You know, be perfect.
I could
see that. A lot of people have been asking for Master Roshi. A lot of people have been asking for Master Roshi because they think that he is, he's just a favorite character. He's a fan favorite. He's just lovable as hell. And I kind of feel like Arxis is the perfect company to do that. Obviously, in the previous Budokai games and the Sparking games and Raging Blast and Genoverse, it's easier to get him in there because their goal is to put every character in the whole series in the game. They have no they have no quarrels with throwing in these characters because hey, they're on the list with 400 other people. So
and here's another little detail or clue as to how hard Arxis and Bandai Namco are going in for Dragon Ball FighterZ. So we've had this conversation before, how Arxis doesn't really do DLC costumes or different outfits for the same character, right?
Right.
They said that they were open to the idea. Just the fact that they open that can of worms for the possibility just goes to show you that they understand what they're working with and they understand the depth of Dragon Ball as a property and how even if you think about how they included the Super Saiyan Blue forms, how it would be a bad move to not include some type of fan service. And the fact that they've done that and they're considering things like that in the future, I feel like it's inevitable. I feel like they have to do it, you know?
Like I said in our Discord chat, the fact that they said in the interview, which we can link in the chat actually if I still have it, hold on. I'll get that to you later. It is on YouTube, but the guy had an interview with Tomoko, and they talked about the DLC costumes and whatnot. She says normally that's not something we do because the way ArcSys works. You know, they told us that it's possible, obviously, but time consuming.
Right.
And then she goes on to say, well, the response to that was enormous. So maybe we should consider it. Now, the thing about that is you can't unring that bell, you know? Once you say something like we should consider it, like it must be hard being a producer or a spokesperson for a game and just have to be a hard ass all the time about these questions, you know, because you're just constantly just being a ball breaker. But in this particular instance, you really see why these people have to be ball breakers about it, you know, because the moment you even drop a hint that you're even thinking about it, you got to do it.
So, with these companies, you always got to lobby for things as a producer and a director. It's just the way it is because everything's an investment, right? So it helps your argument tremendously when there is a response like that. It's like, okay, now I have some ammo in order to sell this to get funding for it.
Right.
And stuff like this is what makes that possible. And especially the fact that it is Dragon Ball. It's like I feel like people don't fuck around with their money when it comes to Dragon Ball. It's like people will be there. It's not like these other fighting games that we have where it's like people talk it up but then they don't come through. Right. You know, like what's an example? Like god damn it.
Careful.
Well, didn't people want a Vampire Savior game for the longest and then nobody bought the remake or the bundle?
Yes, that was a very heartbreaking situation.
And Ono wanted so bad to make another game, but it just did not make the case. Now that's kind of unfair. It is kind of unfair that they had to use old property to make a case for it, right? But I feel like for like those types of game, it's a lot harder to sell to your company to get funding for it. Where it's like Dragon Ball is like you just need a little bit of a kick, but you don't get a little bit of a kick. You get a massive drop kick of support for something that maybe you guys weren't considering because it's too time consuming, you know?
I mean, it's real, man. Like the way ArcSys makes models now, like it is time consuming. Like that is not just let's just slap a skin on them and be done with it. This is like rebuilding another mesh and then putting specific lighting on it for all your backgrounds, you know? Like it's just and considering the way they might even do story mode, they're probably going to be like, well, let's just go the extra mile and if, you know, include it in the story modes. And it's just like, holy shit, man. Like it is almost, and it's not an impossible undertaking, but it is a extremely difficult and time consuming one that I'm not entirely sure that they can make their money back on. But if anything can do it for ArcSys and for Bandai Namco in this situation, it's Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball FighterZ.
So here's another thing that we need to consider on the possibility of that, right? What the size of the roster ends up being. And so hold on to that thought and hold on to this other thought. We are late or later into the generation of their skill set developing a Guilty Gear looking game, right? In the next gen.
Yes.
Like this isn't the first time they've created models of this detail, right?
It's basically the second go around.
Right. So they've had time to work through it, develop a faster technique, and maybe even innovate more on that aspect, right? So they are veterans at this point of doing things like that. Shout outs to Games Go Bang. Game Go Bang. We need to put that in there more. Anyway, So yeah, they're not new to this, and they've been working on stuff like that for a while. And if anything's a testament to that, look at some of the newer characters that they've been releasing for Guilty Gear, and you can see the detail on how fast they're able to turn around on something like that. Now,
Yeah. Okay.
so you think about that, and you think about the number of what the roster will likely be. If the number of the roster is high, then I have total confidence that they will be able to have different DLC costumes for these other characters.
If
You
it's
know,
high. If it's a high
if
roster.
it's high, because when Guilty Gear Xrd was released, what was it, like 15 maybe or less?
I'm gonna say yeah for that. Probably 15 or less.
I mean, if somebody could look up the number for what the original release of characters was, um,
It was
I feel
lowish. It
I
was
feel like
lowish.
it wasn't like 20. You know
No,
what I
no, no,
mean?
no, no, no.
But word around the street is, and people's speculation is that it's at least going to be in the early 20s to late 20s, and an amount of
16.
according to our producer,
Producer
it was
Gibby is
16.
16, so we're both wrong. Cool.
Well, that was close, bro. I said like 15.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agreed with you, so we're both close. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So if they can pull that off I don't even know how long it's been in development. I feel like it hasn't been that long. And they're gonna release it. They're committing to that early 2018 release. Dude, like they must have a level of mastery that they can get some shit done, man.
So I gotta say, obviously every time they release a trailer, they're gonna have to give us more than one character. It's always at least 2 or 3 or whatever, right? Which means they are producing characters at a faster rate that they were, already during
Uh-huh.
the exert time, because you would see like maybe 2 or 3 characters, you know, throughout the entire year or something like that, right? I forget what the rate was for exert originally, but most
Mhm.
likely not as nearly as fast as they're gonna have to do for Dragon Ball Fighters, because it's a 3-on-3 fighter. If they decide to even do trailers for everybody, that being said, just the concept of science and development of games and technology and whatnot, the nature of it is to improve the process, is to expedite the process. I was talking about that before Dragon Ball Fighters hype got into full swing. I was like, you know what, if there's going to be DLC costumes, then they're going to have to expedite their creation process.
Right.
I think for the first time go around, like we said, like it was a very time consuming process. It's very intricate. And I don't think they cut corners, but I think that they found out they might have been making some maneuvers they didn't have to. Because nobody had ever done that before. Nobody ever did anything like they did before. So chances are they probably took some steps they didn't need to take. And they realized that after Exit came out. And I think that's probably why Revelator had such a facelift on it, because they were
It
just like,
did.
hey,
It totally did. And like, I would like to see them to continue to innovate their way of improving the graphics. Like they have right now the template to how to create a beautiful looking game that looks like this.
mm,
Uh, for future development and for other people to break down to maybe tweak some things and make it their own. Like it is really important to me because I really appreciate the aesthetics of these games. Like it goes far beyond a lot of the other games that I've seen that are supposed to be a 2.5D fighting game.
right.
And not even just that, like imagine this in like a full blown 3D scale, like in for some other type of game. It just gives me a lot of hope. And I them being successful is a good thing for everybody in the industry.
Yeah, like
Making fighting games.
totally. Like, I hope that people see this and they're just like, you know what? Maybe these guys at ArcSys are onto something. Maybe it is worth putting in the time and effort to make these games beautiful instead of just putting something out there and then having to fix it later on. By the way, Nino's King in the chat also points out that we don't know what the development time for this was. So this could have been like in the works long before we even knew about it. Most likely it was.
Yeah.
And so maybe they just got ahead of it, But the fact of the matter is, they were saying no to DLC costumes at first glance. Now the walls have cracked, and we're getting a ray of sunshine through. And like I said, they can't unring the bell.
Well, it will be very telling on whatever the roster is when it gets released, right?
Mm-hmm. Everybody's got their number predictions. We just recently had that. We just had another forum the reform prediction came out, and that one's catching fire too because SRK's posting it, Event Hubs is posting it. Basically, someone on some internet forum, either 4chan or Reddit, I forget, posted that there was going to be 27 characters, and there were going to be DLC. I think this was going to be DLC costumes, and there was going to be Toa and Mira from the Dragon Ball Online / Heroes / Xenoverse continuity. They were going to make an appearance. It's about as suspect as that other one from 2chan, like about a couple months ago or a month ago. So I'm not sure how much you can really put into that. But I mean, dude, people want to believe, dude. Like,
Well, I just definitely think that this game, and I feel like we always get to some point in this stream or podcast where we just talk about how this game's gonna light the way. They have not disproven us in our hopes in that thus far.
No.
And I don't know, man. I don't know if just the stars are aligning or what it is, but I could see the hunger in a lot of people. I could see a lot of people wanting to sink their teeth into this game like they never have before. And what I really want to see is these guys that have not had the opportunity to have a game that represents them or that they feel represents them to go to a live setting and represent, and be a part of that community. Because I feel like people want that, right? But they just haven't had that opportunity. Like, man, I like Street Fighter, but I just don't want to commit to it like that. That's not me, you know? Or, I like Guilty Gear, but, I like anime too, but it's just not me. And when Dragon Ball FighterZ came out, I knew I didn't even expect it, but when it came out, it was like, okay, this is me. Like, I definitely am going to play this game, and I feel like I connect to it in a way where it's a part of me, versus like maybe a game. I like Street Fighter, but I don't connect Street Fighter 5, but I don't connect to it like in a deep level whatsoever, and I do feel like I connect with Guilty Gear in a deep level, but I just don't have the time to learn that game, or to constantly be working on that game. But I feel like there's like no excuse. I'm going to put in the time, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to provide content, to be there at a tournament setting, and to just be a part of the community, man.
So you're saying you want to commentate?
No, it's beyond that. It's not just about commentating.
No, I know.
It's a small piece.
No,
but,
I know. We're both on the same page with it. But like,
and that's the thing, right? It's that for us, it's more than just, I don't even want to be the dude for this or whatever. That's not the point. I really just want to be involved with the community and try to represent. This is, to me, because there's no venues right now where we can all meet up and play. There's no forum in real life where we can just go and talk shit about Dragon Ball all day or anything like that. And that's what I hope to provide with this. But now when the game comes out, we will be provided with that forum or with that live interaction that we can work on stuff together. We can create more relationships, and we can bond over this game. Because I know, as much as it bothers me that people don't highlight that about these things, because I feel like that's the biggest draw, like if you look at all these people that are so into Sunday football, right? Or fucking like Sundays are like, bro, I'm gonna go watch some games with my bros. I get that feeling when tournaments come around, when a game like Dragon Ball is gonna get shown on TV, or shit, yeah, I'll probably get shown on TV at some point, or it gets streamed or whatever. I just want to sit back with my boys and talk shit about Dragon Ball. Like, not even talk shit, but just shoot the shit, and that to me is the biggest draw. And I hope for some of you guys out there that are listening to this podcast and considering getting involved, like, more so than being really, really fucking good at this game, that will be the biggest selling point to you. And that's one of the main reasons that a lot of us have stuck around over the years and still are involved with the FGC to this day, is just, this is an opportunity for you to have a camaraderie with this game. And I talked about it on Twitter for a bit, and I do feel like this will be an entirely new scene, an entirely new type of flavor that gets added to the FGC. And as much as people want to lay claim to it, it's it's not something to be claimed for aside. You know, this is going to be a game that is completely new in the community aspect.
Yeah, I agree, and that's something that we've been very on the same page about and discussed. And we see constantly on social that people are laying claim like, oh, so and so's team is going to be the best players for this game, and that might happen. But at the same time, I got to think that there's going to be a large swath of people who either haven't played with a certain other group of people,
Mm-hmm.
that the interaction is going to occur, is what I'm saying. And that
Mm-hmm.
interaction is what's going to create that new scene. Like, sure, there will be people who haven't been in the competitive fighting game scene at all, or possibly
Mm-hmm.
even for a long time, that will show up. But I think most of what will make this new scene is the interaction between groups of people who normally would not interact over a common game. And I don't think that's because of petty high school bullshit. It's just literally two different sides of the coin. Some of the people that we interacted with this week are people we haven't interacted with because they didn't really play KOF. And
Yeah.
we didn't play Marvel, or we didn't play Street Fighter. But here we are, and they knew who we were, and we knew who they were. And here we all are talking about how cheap Piccolo's homing spear is on Oki.
By the way, shout outs to Reiki for constantly subscribing to our channel and giving shout outs and looking out for your boys, man.
Oh, man.
You's a real goon. You're in the goon squad for life, baby.
For life, man. It's in the blood.
But yeah, man. I really feel I'm very hopeful. And like, dude, if you see myself or Hell Pockets at an event, by all means, man, roll through. Let's shoot the shit about Dragon Ball, even if it's not about the game, just Dragon Ball in general.
Yeah, dude.
Like, we really are fans, like, just like you guys. And if we're trying to come at you in the most honest way that represents us on Mount Paozu Arcade, and that's we definitely are FGC members. We love to play the game. We like competition. We like to commentate, but also at the same time, goddamn, do I like to see a new power level.
Oh, man, we've gone a little bit over time, but that does not mean that we don't have time for your questions. So I believe I saw one in our questions chat. And I also saw one in our Twitch chat, if I can scroll up a little bit. But let's get to the statistics. The Discord takes priority. So Lionheart16 asked, has there been any word on Arxis possibly rebuffing the supers? And no, I have not heard anything so far. Arxis has been very closed-lipped with what they're changing in the game. Obviously, the Dragon Rush relaunch feature, I'll call it, was removed in the Gamescom build, and nobody knew about it until they tried it. So they're letting us try to figure out these things as they happen. I think that's the better way of doing it right now, because this game ain't so serious right now. Like, the hype is real, but if anybody's trying to like get that day 0.1, experience under their belt just by reading, they're relax, enjoy it. It's Dragon Ball. Enjoy the ride. Another question from Lionheart16. If you don't mind a second call, sorry. Do you think there will eventually be a way to create a safe setup for Android 16's kamikaze throw, i.e., though through combos, assists, mix-ups? Yeah, I could see that happening. But at the same time, people have to realize, like, while that moves like that are really cool, this game affords you a way of avoiding almost anything that is moving forward, and that is, of course, the universal teleport. And I gotta tell you, that thing is ripe for a universal teleport counter. I can't really imagine too many situations where he's going to get it as the aggressor. I can see it as a reversal, sure, maybe a bait into a reversal, but as like just straight mix up and pressure from Android 16 and his assist characters. And this is saying it now. What the characters we had now, we don't know what's coming on down the pipeline. They could have fucking fused Zamas with like the freaking acid rain thing, or crimson rain thing, as it were. And that could just keep you locked down forever. And then here comes Android 16 with like the level 3 grab. That could be real. I don't know. But as of right now, I just don't see that happening.
All right, so I'm gonna bring up a topic in a second, but I want to give you guys the opportunity in this chat that if you've got a last minute question, go ahead and throw it up. If we got time, we'll try to get to as many as possible. But in the meantime, Chris,
What's up?
what is, I don't know if I ever asked you this, but what is your favorite saga in Dragon Ball Z? Or man, I'll let you boil it down. Like favorite fight.
Favorite fight?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a tough one. Hmm.
Yeah.
Shut up, Gibby.
Hey, our producer just came through. Gibby was like, it's probably gonna be some whack shit. This is a bait, man. Anytime I ask Hellpockets these questions, it's just a bait for him to say some outlandish shit. But you know what he's been doing lately? He's been trying to like reverse Yomi me and come up with some even more bullshit answer. So go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
So, all right. So I gotta say that probably my favorite fight is something that is something that I didn't recently discover, obviously, but I've been watching a lot of it in the last couple of years, and I didn't really pay it that much mind until I actually saw it in Dragon Ball Kai, and it made me want to watch the original version again.
Okay.
And that is the first fight between Goku and Vegeta.
Oh man, it took you all the way till Kai to see that?
No, I had seen it before.
No. I mean to see that it's like one of the best fights fucking ever.
Like it took because like at that point I was like because at the time that I was watching, I was still super high off the fight between Super Saiyan.
You're still super high.
I was still super high off the fight between Super Saiyan Goku and Majin Buu and Kid Buu, which
that shit wasn't even legal at that time. Okay.
I was like 12 years old. Shit. No, I was still super, like, the Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan 2 Goku fight between Majin Buu, Kid Buu, rather. That was actually really well done. So that was, at the time, that was what I was super lit off of at the time, And fights like that, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan versus Cell, and some of the movie fights, like Piccolo versus Coolest Henchman. That was one of my favorite fights also. But then I went back to this, and I was like, wow, there's just things that are done in this fight that you didn't really see anymore after that. The way that they displayed combat impact, the way that, things just kind of dragged on. And like, you really got the sensation, that really got the sense that Goku and Vegeta were really slugging it out for their lives. You know? It was really gritty to the point where one of them just couldn't move anymore. And there's a sense other guy couldn't move.
There's a sense of the capability that anybody could lose, that everything's on the line, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And the build up to it is probably they got the most out of the build up that I've ever seen in any of the arcs of Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
And the payoff was great. And also like kind of some of the things that end up getting revealed as far as like the intentions of a lot of these characters or their personalities. For instance, we talked about this before, the differences between the original dub in Japanese and what they say when Krillin's about to try to kill Vegeta versus the US version. And what that reveals is a lot about Goku, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we had Rhymestyle talk about it when we were on here last time, where it was like, dude, Goku's been a scumbag for years. Like, this dude just murdered so many people here, or at least was a part of like mass destruction on Earth. And the motivation for Goku was like, I just had the dopest fight of my fucking life. Like, god damn, did I get off on that shit. I have got to have that again. Please let this guy leave. And then Krillin in the most, he was about to be a real fucking G, dude. Literally a second away from being like the most gangster fucking dude on the show by legit stabbing a dude. Like, this isn't a power beam. He just blew some dude up. Or sorry, keep last. That's the same shit. But he didn't blow him to smithereens. I feel like that's totally different. This dude was legit gonna jam a fucking katana down his back. You know, like
It wasn't gonna be pretty. It was definitely gonna be some gruesome shit.
that shit was gonna be brutal. And once again, Goku took the shine away from one of his boys and told him, "Hey, ease off, bro. Like, this is my brother." I don't even know if he says that in the Japanese version. I feel like he doesn't. I feel like that's the US version. But it's like, nah, dude, like, listen, did you not see this dope ass fight we had? Like, we gotta have it again. And we're eternally bros now because we beat the shit out of each other.
It's like
Don't you
blood.
know that? Don't you know the code? Don't you know the code of like when dudes fight, we become bros? That's the
dude,
way it is.
dude, he was like blood. Like I just like we fought to a draw. There ain't no clear winner yet, man. Don't blue ball me, bro. Like, come on. That's basically his whole reasoning behind it. I was like, man, this ain't over yet. And so he let him live. And that was something that was actually kind of hard to watch in Japanese.
Uh-huh.
Like, especially the original Japanese, like the old, like, freaking 1989 shit.
Yeah.
If that's when it happened, I forget. But you really got to understand that Dragon Ball Z was a different kind of show than what we were used to seeing in America at that point, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I started watching Dragon Ball Z before it came out in America, and I couldn't understand shit because it wasn't subtitled. I just liked the cool action sequences, and the movies were awesome.
I had never seen anything like it, and that's why I was so gravitated to it.
Mm.
And talking about how even the themes of that whole arc is what changed your perspective on all of Dragon Ball. If you've never seen
Mm-hmm.
anything, you've only seen that, you're like, holy shit, like Vegeta's a fucking psycho. Like he just murdered his fucking homie. Like legit blew him to smithereens because he couldn't hang. You know, like
I mean, I've got my theories about how Vegeta turned out the way that he is, and it's probably not good for this show because it delves into some pretty dark shit.
I don't want to go into how he turned out to be. I just want to put a focus on that arc as if it existed on its own.
All I'm saying is I think Frieza made him do some pretty nasty shit.
Okay. Well, I mean, sure, I'm sure he did, but regardless, it showed to the level of how crazy that this dude could be, and that like characters like that haven't really been explored, at least for me when I was younger, to that extent. And even um, as far as like such a big crossover hit in the U.S. for anime, I feel like characters like that weren't really that big, right? That's the first character to explore, or first characters to explore shit like that.
Well, the thing was, like, Vegeta kind of came out the gate like your typical villain, although he was a really cool one. And I think at the time it was cool to like villains. So it was like the perfect time to bring Dragon Ball Z out in America. But then something crazy happened. And you only really saw this happen in like comic books, you know, where the hard nosed villain suddenly becomes a sympathetic character and then fucks the other main character and has a kid. Like that shit is what? Bulma's the secondary character of this series, basically, right? And if you've been watching Dragon Ball since you were like a kid in 1983, and you're like, it's Goku and Bulma, it's Goku and Bulma and Yamcha.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, here comes Vegeta. It's like, oh man, you didn't kill him. Well, we'll get him next time, Goku. Wait a minute. Okay, Frieza killed him. That's great. You know, now we can get on with the next. Wait, now Vegeta's back and he's back on Earth and he's living with Bulma and he's taking a shower in her house and they had a kid. Like, this shit blows your mind. You're like, how the hell did we get here, man?
Well, I'll tell you, it all started in Dragon Ball when
right?
Goku just kept beating the shit out of people and they all ended up being his friends. Like, literally everybody that Goku beat has been, or close to been, an ally at one point.
I guess Piccolo counts too, yeah.
Well, dude, no, like a lot of them, like Krillin was not an ally.
His buddy.
Tien, same shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, on like 90% of the cast. Even now in Super, Frieza's somewhat of an ally. You know what I mean? Like, they take it so goddamn far, and they know how effective this is in selling a character to be cool. It's like, oh, the anti-hero villain that's kind of on your side, but not really, could fuck you over any second, but he's trying to be cool. You know what I mean?
I think Frieza's a stretch though, because they're like, dude, this is literally a guy that is wanted for genocide all over the universe, and you're like, yeah, we could use him anyway, right? Sure, Goku.
Yeah, fucking Goku, man. Like putting everybody's life at risk.
It's like I said, he's not an idiot. He's just suffering from a 30-year-long concussion after taking a fall as a goddamn infant off a motherfucking waterfall. Not an idiot. Got freaking brain damage. All right, we got some questions, and I think we have to wrap it up, right? Because oh shit, it's 9:30, baby. By the way, if you haven't already and you want to ask questions for the show, we can't always get to the Twitch chat questions, but if we can, we will. But Discord questions are always going to take precedent. So get your ass in the Discord, join in. Everybody in here is real cool. We're always talking about Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball FighterZ, and maybe we'll make some extra rooms for people talking about weird shit like booze and sex or something. I don't know.
Can you shoot the link, Gibby, in there?
So Rod CU, friend of the show, asked, there is a rumor that Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and Vegeta are basically EX versions of themselves. Same thing with 17. That is unfounded as far as I know. I don't think that there is any. Well, I guess the rumor that got started with the supposed character leak, did state that 17 would be his own character, but I have not seen any evidence of that yet. Do you think there will be more variations like that with the same character? For example, Super Saiyan Blue Goku and not Super Saiyan having Super Saiyan Blue Goku and not Super Saiyan Goku.
What?
Sorry, I believe it's possible. Are you reading? I believe it's possible since you need the spirit bomb. Oh, you make me normal.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, so that I think we might have discussed that last time where we saw on the website that some of the characters that were listed had these little, qualifiers next to their names. Like they would have Kid Gohan and Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta and Boo Z at the end of their URL addresses. And
right.
some of the characters didn't have that. And so the characters that so far, two of the characters that have had that so far currently come out with a second version of themselves, which is Super Saiyan Blue, Vegeta, and Goku.
Yeah.
That could possibly lead us to believe that there will be other versions of Gohan and Boo. But I don't know if they're going to go for a trifecta,
Okay. This is to the extent that I think this is going to happen. I think they're going to go the way of what they did with Goku currently, where he goes into Super Saiyan 3 and it's just a part of a level 3 animation or something like that. Or, like, I don't know, maybe down the line you'll have another super that they'll add to the game where he will go fucking
just normal.
Yeah. Exactly. Or have like maybe just a Kaioken animation or something like that,
Okay. Yeah, I could see that possibly appearing later on. I don't think they would specifically do that one right away because that probably would just not make anybody happy. In Dragon Ball Z Extreme Butoden, that was definitely something that was available. They had normal Goku, that Super Saiyan Goku, and then they had Super Saiyan God Goku, and then Super Saiyan Blue Goku. So you have 4 Gokus basically, spanning all different major forms, as it were. I don't think they're going to try to do that here. I think they'd rather spend spaces on other versions of Gohan. Boo, probably going to have Kid Boo. So we'll have adult Gohan and Kid Boo. If 17 is in it, I don't think he's going to be Z or Super 17. I have a weird feeling that it's going to be like...
Fuck. Okay, look, listen. I hate to cut you off, man. But fuck, dude. GT characters aren't going to make it in. Like... I feel like you guys should dream better dreams than having GT characters in this game. But like, God damn.
I mean, the fact that evidence is already there. Like, yeah, sure.
Like what? Like what? Wait. Hold on. Am I jumping to conclusions here? What do you mean by that?
They just like, why even have 17 in there? Like at this point, because he's already like a summon character for 18, and I really want him to be in there. But I'm also like, They could do it, but it's gonna look just like 18 in terms of animation. And in fact, some people have been pointing out that 17's model is just a reskin of 18, and 17 is
So
actually not the same proportions as 18.
I mean,
So
so I mean, I mean, dude, if he's in the game, I'll take that, right? Like, if they do that to make it easier to put that guy in the game, I'm all for it. However, the conversation, and I'm being a little bit of a dick here, but
a
be-
little bit of a dick. Okay.
I'll call myself out. But it's just, I just don't see any valid argument for a GT character appearing in this. At least at this point in the game, first release, I do not see any good argument as to why a GT character would be in this game.
I think they would be in this DLC or possibly and there's actually something else that people have been arguing because and it might be because of mistranslation, but the story mode basically said that the story was going to be revolving around androids appearing. Like basically all those weird zombified versions of the characters you saw were androids, I guess. I don't think that I don't know if that's true or not, but that has gotten people to start arguing like, well, hey, that will explain why Android 16 is back because he's supposed to be dead in that timeline and he's back for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And if he's back, it's possible that Super 17 appears again. And that's not me wanting him to be in there. That's just something people are saying, you know?
That's a hard ass speculation. Also, you got to think that this probably isn't going to be a canon story.
No, of course not. This is going to be like Arc says telling a Dragon Ball story, which is fine, but you know, so anything can happen.
How?
They could put 17 in with the pimp coat.
I'm down with 17, man. I'll say that. I'm down with 17. Um, but yeah, we pretty much come to the capping point of this show, and we got a lot of things that we work on, don't we, Chris?
Yeah, we're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely stay busy here, and one of the things that we do on this show or this channel, specifically on our YouTube channel, we do provide Chris Hellpockets himself provides reviews every week for each episode of Dragon Ball Super. And to accompany that, we have created a new show on YouTube that is commentary tracks for each new episode of Dragon Ball. So, if you guys want to see more of that stuff, please head over to our YouTube channel. Give us a like and a subscribe, or just check out the video and tell us if you like it or not. Leave some comments. We have a bunch of other stuff that is entirely unrelated to Dragon Ball, and it's just us goofing around. And if you like the Goons, and you haven't had enough of us, I'm telling you right now, there's more you gotta see. There's different aspects of us than just Dragon Ball, especially with our other boys on this show.
It's just a really big one, honestly.
Yeah, so do us a favor, go over and check that out. Hit us with the like and subscribe. And to segue into the subscriptions, we do have a subscription specific emote, the Game Go Bang, featuring our own producer, Manchester Gibby.
And you want to spam that thing because that's literally his favorite shit, man. Like that's why he's the one that's putting that shit up over my face, and he keeps acting like it's a motherfucking accident. But I know I'm watching you, man. I see your shit.
That is literally the face he made when we started releasing all these Dragon Ball FighterZ videos. Like, ooh, baby.
Every time, God damn it.
Yeah, so if you guys want to throw this guy's handsome face all over our Twitch chat, please subscribe and support your fellow goons. And last but not least, we do have not one, but 2 shirts available for you to go and represent Game Goons and Mount Paozu Arcade. And they're both on our Teespring right now, on our Teespring store, where you have the new and improved Game Goons design, along with our Mount Paozu Arcade logo here. So go ahead and just check it out at the very least. And if you guys give us a buy, hey, hit us up on Twitter or even on our Discord and shoot us a pic, man. Let us know you guys represent, and we'll definitely give you guys a shout outs and give you a look. You know what I mean? Anything else, Chris, that you'd like to plug?
Um, Obviously, if you haven't seen all of our 5 hours of Dragon Ball FighterZ footage from our visit to Bandai Namco, you want to check that out. Oh my god.
Oh my God, Hell Pockets, you're so handsome now.
So
God
you want to
damn.
go over to our YouTube and check that out. There's like over 5 hours of stuff, and just like it ranges from us playing each other to playing Rhyme Style to playing Woolly Madden. Just a lot of fun times had in there, and you know the game's really fun, and that really comes out in those videos. So if you're on the fence about Dragon Ball FighterZ and you just want to see some nice guys sitting in a room playing it for 5 hours, that's probably going to tip the scales in that favor.
Okay, I got one more thing. One more thing. And for all you guys in our chat right now, and for you guys on YouTube that eventually see this, next week, I guarantee you that if you are in this chat, you will be guaranteed an opportunity at a free t-shirt, a free Mount Paozu arcade shirt that we will provide for you as long as you're in this chat. I'm not even going to do a whole Twitter retweet, anything like that. This is to support you guys for supporting us and being around and always, providing something to talk about for us. So just pretty much to show our appreciation to you guys since being around since this whole thing we
It's like
started.
8 episodes, man.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like we wouldn't have the show without you people. It's what do you mean, you people? You guys are great. We definitely do this show just for you. We want to be able to like bring you as close to what we're trying to do as possible.
Yeah.
And once the game is out, man, I keep talking about this. I keep bringing it up. But once the game is in the hands of the general public, you will really see Mount Paozu Arcade's final form.
I know, man. We're really fine tuning the formula right now, but I never forget the people that keep helping us push for better content each week and to get better. And without you guys around, I mean, I'm sure we still do stuff, but it really, really helps. And we really want to show our appreciation. So please be around in this chat next week. And if you're in there, just in the chat, you could just be hanging around just as long as you're here with us. We will give you an opportunity to win a free shirt. Who knows? Maybe we'll even do two. I don't know, man. It depends on how many banks I rob in the meantime. if I got enough money after I hit up the Circle K, I'll throw some more shirts your way, man.
You're on restricted duty, mister.
Yeah, so.
All right, is that it?
Yeah, dude. So basically, yeah, thanks for being around. And I'm just gonna hand it over to my dude, my partner in crime, the most handsome dude on this Twitch stream right now, currently, due to his beautiful, beautiful profile. Hell Pockets, close us out, baby.
Anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week. Make sure you watch Dragon Ball Super this Saturday. And as always, keep it super. You know what I'm saying?